everyone, back to Salona. Today, I am joined by Kanya. Kanya is my friend. Kanya, by profession, she's a chartered accountant. She's a mother. She's a wife. So today I said, my friend, come join me, man. Let's talk about property. Actually, I want to explain to me, only a negative gear. You know, what is a positive gear? Is it a good investment to do in negative gear, property investment, or do I actually go for a positive gear? What are the benefits and what are the cons to that? So namhlanje ke ndithe Khanya nikhawuze ke sisicacisele kakhulu. So basically she's going to explain to us what is a negative gear and what is a positive gear. And also we're going to also move into terms, we're also going to discuss in terms of how do one negotiate interest rate, and if we renegotiate, what are the implications, what are the benefits as a property owner when negotiate your interest rate. So Sisi, yakwamkela kosixele ke ntombi, basically yintoni i-negative gear, just a simple terms nje.
Oh, okay. Thanks for inviting me. Hi to everyone. So basically, in investment property, there's a term they like using to say if your investment is positively geared or negatively geared. Just to explain that, positive geared, it means that basically you're getting a return in your investment. And then in negative gear, it means that you must use your other income from maybe your job or other investment to support that property. So basically, it means that the rent you receive is less than the cost. So it doesn't cover all your costs, your bond cost, your levies, your rates, your maintenance in terms of that property. So it's when you start investing, it's very important to understand all the terms and your investment strategy. So for instance, okay,
so basically we are saying what in negative gear, it is the shortfall between the rental income that you receive plus the repayment towards your home loan. So you have that negative that you have to use your income to close that gap in repayment of your home. Okay.
Yes. So I know like lots of investors use strategy of negative gearing for their own tax purposes, to say no, it's going to decrease tax if they have an investment property that is negatively geared, because the losses will help when they do their tax at the end of the year, and then it lowers their tax. Sometimes they even get money because of that. But the problem is that you can't use that strategy for investment purposes, because investment, okay, from my understanding, when you want to invest, you want growth. So it's either capital gain or the cash flow. So you can't solely just buy property that is negative geared just for tax purposes. So you must actually have a strategy for that. So sometimes some people would actually buy a negatively geared property because they've done their research, because in that area there's good capital gains, capital gain in the future. So in 5 years' time, they know they can sell a property with a lot of money. So it's important to do your research. So as a person, before you invest in anything, do your research. So find out the suburb you want to invest in. There's so many sites, and these days you are so lucky because there's internet. We have all these things. You can do your research. You can talk to people. You can talk to actually people in the industry. You can even talk to them. So it's important that, and you must get your information from one source. You must try to get information from different sources, so you can make an informed decision. So so you need to do your research. So in terms of doing your research, in terms of in that area, past few years, how many properties were sold at which price, and also how many people when they rent there, how much are they willing to pay? The levies, if you're buying, for instance, in this area, how much are the rates, like estimate of your rates, and all the maintenance costs.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is that when you invest in a property, definitely when you're buying a property for investment, you want good returns. You want to have a cash flow. So if you decide to choose on a negative gear, that means you won't be able to get that profit. You'll be operating on a negative. So
Yes.
for you to be, wanted to add?
Yes, some people actually do buy negatively geared properties, but then they know that maybe in 2 years' time that will change to a positively geared property. But then that needs you to actually have researched, you to have the knowledge to see the forecasts in the future, if anything's gonna change. It's not something that you decide, you just buy and just hope. It's something that you have to make sure at some point you're gonna see the profit. Because sometimes because some people might buy, we call them lemons. So lemons it's like buying expensive shares and then you never see the return. You actually lose money. So you don't want that. So like any other investment, you also need to make sure you do your research. You don't just buy any house. So different houses, like for instance, if you buy, you must just know what's your strategy, where you're gonna buy, who's your target market. So it's those factors are very important. So don't just buy property, because most properties are expensive. So because most properties, when you look at them, like even on the net, both of them you can see these ones will be negatively geared. But the most important thing is your strategy. Firstly, do you want a negatively geared? What's your strategy? Is it capital gains or cash flow? Because if it's capital gains, then you can say, okay, I still have few cash. I just want this property for 2 years. I can survive the negatively geared, but I'm gonna sell it very soon. So that's your own strategy. But then basically, if you want to hold it for a while, then it's not advisable to actually have a negatively geared asset, because how are you going to grow your portfolio? So for instance, if you buy one investment property, you want to buy other ones. So if they are negatively geared, because you can buy one for now and support it, but then the next one, you can't buy another one because we have limited income. So you can't be buying properties because then it won't grow. In terms of portfolio, you need to grow your portfolio as an investor. So you must be very careful with that. So, and then, but you can look at strategies on how to actually decrease your costs.
Oh, okay. Just to make an example of what you say, because okay, just to sum it up, for my understanding is that you must know your strategy. What is your strategy? Well, if you're buying on a negative gear, look where the area is. Location is important. Is it the area where you would easily to find tenants to rent your property? Location is it closer to amenities? That is your shopping centers, your service centers, and so forth. Also the public transport. So that you won't be able to struggle to get tenants, to get at least a rental income out of that property. And also, just to make an example, is that like if we made a general example, looking in terms of property, which areas where you stay, Kimberley, I would refer it to there's New Park. New Park, the growth there is steady in terms of value, but there's a demand for tenants. So meaning that you can get tenants, but the growth is steady because of other factors such as security and safety. And then comparing to a place in what do you call this? Southridge. Sorry? Southridge, for instance. Southridge, the rental there, it does not meet you won't be able to actually fully pay rent, the repayment towards your home loan with the rental income because of that area. But the value, in terms of your growth and of your investment, the value, it goes up. over every year.
Mm.
So that's your negative. For me,
Mm.
that's a negative gear. And then let's talk about let's talk about the positive gear. What is a positive gear?
So positive gear, it just means that that property sustains itself and even get a return out of it. So for instance, you rent for that place, maybe it's 9,000, and then your bond cost, including your rates and all the other costs related to that, they actually maybe 8,000. So you're getting 1,000 a month extra from that property. That's positively
Mm,
geared. Mm. That's a good investment, you
mm.
see.
So that means
So
you're getting your
you
cash flow.
rather, yes. So you actually every month you're actually getting a cash flow. You're getting an extra 1,000 from that investment. So
Oh.
yeah.
So would you say, Akanya, that the best investment will be on the positive gear as opposed to the negative gear? Would you say that?
That's what I'm saying. I guess it depends on your strategy,
Mm,
but then the best is always try to get a positive gear. So unless you have a different strategy, but then at the end of the day, you need to make money because as an investor, you need to make money. So you can't be losing money. So a
mm,
positive it's nice because it actually gives you instant cash flow.
okay. Oh, okay. Okay, let's
Mm.
then discuss Wuti, in terms of your interest, because obviously one of the things that will actually affect your cash flow and your income will be the prepayment amount that you have to pay towards your home
Mm.
loan. So interest is one of those
Mm.
factors, those components, that determines
Mm.
how much you're going to pay, and also how you negotiate your asking price. So that you can,
Mm.
at least if you're in a situation of a negative gear, you try to reduce the costs. So how do you think a one gear, let's say maybe I'm in a situation of a negative gear. I bought into this area, but the rental income that I received does not match what I need to pay monthly towards my bond. So how
Mm.
then one can negotiate for the next property, or someone who's buying as a new buyer and
Mm.
negotiate for the best interest rate, and also trying to negotiate for a good.
So with this strategy where you're trying to get a positive gear, so you actually look at your costs and then try to see in the way can you actually decrease your costs.
Mm.
So for instance, the number one big expense when you buy an investment property for most people, it will be their bond. So basically the asking price. So with the asking price, you must never just accept the first price you get from the seller,
Mm.
unless it's really really cheap, and now you can see it's really cheap. So like some sellers, because some sellers actually more are motivated, maybe they're actually going through a divorce, or they just want to move and they just want to get rid of the property. So you actually have to try to negotiate. So when you put your offer, put a lower offer, but make sure you are reasonable also. So also when you do your house inspection, it's very important to actually look at the defects in the house so that you can start, because some people will just sell the house as it is. So you look at the defects and then you start negotiating with that to say, okay, this house I would have to fix this and this and this and this, and you list all of those things. And then you say, can I get then a discount for all these things I need to fix in the house? And then the other second major one on the bond, it's the bond. Interest rates. You can negotiate interest rates with your bank. Um, I know there's bond originators who get different bond from different banks. Okay, some people are lazy with the paperwork, so they prefer that service. So they would come with different deals and all that, and then they will tell you which banks accepted your. They're gonna give you a bond and what is the interest rate. It's very important to look what's the interest rate before you decide, and then try to negotiate with the bank for a better deal. So because some banks, like for a bond, especially if your credit rate is good, you should not be paying anything more than prime. You should not be paying anything more than prime. So you should not be paying prime plus, because I know some banks like prime plus. So you should rather try to negotiate for a prime minus, and it makes a difference. Even if it's a minus 0.5, it really makes a huge difference on a 1.5 loan. So you should always negotiate, especially with your own bank. I did that on my personal thing, where I went to my own bank, negotiated my own rate just to get a prime minus, and it works.
Yeah, just to just to add, Nam, yes, because I know for personally, Nam, as well, that when I embarked also on buying a property, one of the things that I was advised to Guti, never take best offer. You must be able to be in a position that your mind is clear and Guti, you even before you even make that appointment with the state agent, you must know this is my maximum. I'm not going any amount beyond this. So that when you go to view that property, you already want to see, obviously, the properties, especially existing properties, there will be those defects. So you actually capitalized on those defects so that you can match up to the price that you are prepared to pay. And also, and then a little interest rate as well. For me, it did make it because my first offer from the bank interest rate, it was actually prime. It was a prime rate. But when I said to the originator, go back and negotiate. Let's put other applications to other banks. And thank God it came back with the other bank. It was 0.18% minus. And it actually made a huge difference in the payment amount. And thank God, I said you go back again and negotiate, because this is the percentage that I'm willing to pay. And they went back to negotiate, and it became minus 1%. So negotiating, is very important in this process. One must not be shy. Shyness is not going to help anyone. You must be shy. You must not be shy. You must know what you want at the end of the day, because you are working based on your income, your monthly income. So whatever that one does, must make sure that you never overspend on what your disposal income is. Oh, okay. That's interesting, Kanye. And do you have anything?
Yes.
Do you want to add something?
No, I just want to add, just to say that also with the negotiating, it also helped us. Usually we saved like 400K on our bond, the initial offer, when we saw that the room became, and then the seller was like, no, it's fine. She was even willing to go down from 2.2 to 1.8. And then just with the roof, it didn't even cost us close to just 100K, of which I think then we have saving of 300K. So it's very important to negotiate, because some people, once you come with those things, they're like, yo, okay, so I'm gonna come with this, and just yeah, all right. So it's very important to negotiate. See, especially as an investor. As an investor, your main thing is you want to make money.
Yes.
So you can't waste money.
Oh, okay. I think let's leave it there for now. Thank you so much, dear, for that insight of information. And yeah, hopefully people did learn something, especially around the negative gear and the positive gear, and also how you want to negotiate. What are the positive impacts when you're negotiating for asking price in the interest? It might be good for you, at the end of the day on your investment. So thanks so much, Kanya, for taking time. I know you're a new mom. Thank you so much for taking time. And guys, until I make another video, keep well, stay safe. Bye, Kanya.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.